Imagine this. You are at the highest point you've ever been. Everything in your life is going well, you have an incredibly successful career, a house, a beautiful boyfriend or girlfriend, you're financially free, you can travel the world, do whatever you want to feel passionate about. It feels like you're on top of the world, and suddenly one day, it all disappears. Why, you ask? Because of a mistake you made 10 plus years ago that finally crept up on you and came to haunt you because of social media. A mistake you already thought you'd moved on from, a mistake you could learn from, a mistake you might even regret. Today we're going to talk about cancel culture and the problem of a hypersensitive society using this tool to attack people that don't deserve it. My name is Akaraien, and without further ado, let's get right into it. Before I go in detail on what cancel culture is, let's talk about how it even started in the first place. In 2006, Trina Burke created a movement called the Me Too movement, a movement that raised awareness of women who have either been sexually harassed or assaulted. Its goal being to empower females and have them stand out and heal themselves and also defend themselves from further assaults. About 11 years later in 2017, it found global recognition after a viral tweet by actress Alyssa Milano, which said, "If you've been sexually harassed or assaulted, write Me Too as a reply to this tweet." She was also one of the many women who accused Hollywood producer Harvey Weinstein of sexual assault, who was found guilty and sentenced to 24 years of jail early last year.
For two separate forcible sexual assaults against two different women.
The tweet got over 60,000 replies and went trending on Twitter as a #MeToo movement. The movement expanded drastically all around the world, even expanding to broader groups including individuals from the LGBTQ and the disabled community. The #MeToo movement can be defined as a social movement against sexual violence and sexual assault that advocates for females who survived said crimes to speak out about their experience.
We're all human beings and everybody has a story, and now people are standing up and paying attention.
This later on developed into canceling celebrities for problematic actions or statements, hence the term cancel culture was created. This in itself isn't anything bad, and I do believe people should be called out and held accountable for their wrongdoings, especially if they have severely impacted other people's lives in a negative or even traumatic way. But here's where the problem comes in. The main problem with cancel culture is the notion of canceling itself. Social media has grown to become a significant part of humanity within the last generation. The average person spending about 2.5 hours on social media websites alone, and for many people it's become a tool to freely express themselves and be able to share what they like, what they're doing in their free time, their hobbies, jobs, passions, and also their traumatic or post-traumatic experiences. It has pretty much become a place for sharing your life with the world. Social media has also become a job for many people, as in YouTube influencers, Twitch streamers, editors, film producers, and even already established brands and companies being able to promote their products more efficient and cheaper than ever before. What makes social media unique is that we have the ability to get a glimpse of people's lives and form a relationship with the individual, as well as we also have the ability to give content creators a platform. With a simple click on the subscribe or follow button. We can also deplatform them just as quickly given the right accusations. A good example of this being James Charles, who released a video recently called Holding Myself Accountable, where he talks about exchanging inappropriate messages with minors. He now hasn't posted for the last couple of months and has received massive backlash by his community.
First and foremost, I need to say sorry.
As much as cancel culture is all about reforming people and calling them out to be better human beings, the reality is it is a social issue. An issue that is suffering for lack of reason, empathy, and measured judgment. It is an unsettling thought that anyone could suddenly be cancelled one day over a post they made a decade ago. Often enough, those old tweets will be used against the individual as proof of their problematic behavior, even if they've long matured and moved on from those statements. Supporters of cancel culture will often say that what they're doing is for the greater good of society, but is it really? Social media has given your average person the control to decide what is offensive and what is not, speaking on behalf of the community that is affected, even if said community doesn't have a problem with it. Over the last couple of years, our civilization has become hypersensitive to insults and freedom of speech. If you want a crystal clear example of this is how Call of Duty lobbies used to sound like back in Modern Warfare 2.
Wow, look at all these fucking queers with fucking heartbeat sensors. You guys are that bad that you have to use those in order to find people and get killed?
Hey, blow me, cry about the game, bitch.
This clip is not even 10 years old, and our population has changed in a massive way where behavior like this would be unacceptable. It clearly demonstrates my point and is quite worrying to see because of the rapid development it had. The real question is, if we let cancel culture continue like this, will there ever be an end to it? Will you not be able to even call somebody out on their actions anymore because it would be labeled as too offensive? We can be honest with ourselves and admit that we have all said or done things in the past that would not be deemed problematic. It is pretty much trying to hold people accountable just because they've been giving a spotlight rather than actually having done something traumatic to impact other people's lives. This doesn't only affect social media influencers, but pretty much people from all fields have been forced to embrace cancel culture to some extent. The creative field is just as impacted by this, with TV shows getting cancelled or rewritten, movies being banned from certain countries, and books being pulled from shelves. Think about it. How many of your favorite TV shows do you think would be released or could have even been made in the first place in today's time? Most of them would have probably been entirely reconstructed to a much safer script or writing style to appeal to a wider audience. There is also the other side of the coin, where people contemplate that cancel culture is either non-existent, or if it does exist, the consequences of being cancelled are simply not as severe as we say they are. Well, let's say this is true. Wouldn't that mean that people are not being held accountable for serious crimes and charges? And if they are, that people still support them regardless of that? In their denial of the existence of cancel culture, people are acknowledging its childishness. The complete lack of reason really shows itself when you consider the lack of justice that is given to people, especially if those individuals are deemed as not guilty. A common stigma that has been going around is to believe all victims. What most people really end up doing is believing all accusations, where they tend to jump to conclusions right away, rather than hearing the other side of the story as well. It is a guilty until proven innocent process in which the victim is only let off the hook when there is overwhelming supportive evidence on their side, especially when you consider the individuals that are being cancelled have an incredibly hard time to reintegrate to society. And when they are being reintegrated, it is almost never a result of some carefully thought out mechanism of cancel culture. It's simply just people not caring about it at all anymore, or simply forgetting it even happened in the first place. It is a black and white mentality where ultimately nobody comes out on top. At the end of the day, cancel culture goes beyond finger pointing. It is about how we choose to handle different opinions, standing up to mob mentality, and the unfair standards we hold others up to. On a certain level, it is about remaining open to the possibility of being wrong, to be able to think that you and I can make some very obvious errors. People should feel like they can make mistakes while potentially losing their friends, jobs, and entire livelihood. We need to normalize having different views and being able to talk about them in a rational and productive manner. We need to practice self-examination, which is something the act of calling out lacks. Humans are complex creatures who are constantly evolving. You're probably not the same person you were a couple of years ago, or even something as recent as a month ago. If more and more people are able to internalize the idea that they too can make a bad joke and be caught off guard or say something they don't mean, then I think we have a fighting chance against cancel culture. Because the truth is, cancel culture is not a problem that only affects a certain subgroup of individuals. With everything becoming more digitalized these days, cancel culture can come for you as well. It can come for everybody. It just depends on who it is more convenient for at the time. Ultimately, you will never know who it will attack next, until it's too late.